Good morning. Let's discuss today's development. The regular session on current affairs. Start with. Let's first talk about the topics in news. So the first topic that we have taken for discussion today is about the MSME sectors. Fine. So in the post economic reforms period, fine. In the post economic reform period, so Indian economy became a little more imbalanced. Fine, because there is sectoral imbalance in the economy. So the service sector witnessed a massive growth, and the manufacturing sector has not been at par with it, or has not got that focus like the service sector. Fine. So under such circumstances, okay, so there is the government has reoriented its policy towards the MSME sector. Fine. So because the MSME sector has some advantage, because the MSME sector need less capital, low technology, and the most important thing is that it is more employment oriented. Fine. So government focus on this MSME sector. Fine. The micro, small, and medium enterprises sector is a major contributor to the socio-economic development of the country. So since last 2014, government has been focusing on the MSME sector. In India, the sector has gained significant importance due to its contribution to the GDP of the country and export. The sector has also contributed immensely with respect to entrepreneurship development, especially in the semi-urban and rural area of India, because of these factors: less capital, low technology, more employment oriented. So this sector had the following advantages for which this is being promoted right now. You see, so if you see so coming to the criteria, composite criteria of this MSME sector. So it is micro sector investment plan and machinery or equipment not less than 1 crore, and annual turnover is not more than 5 crore. It's called a micro enterprises. In enterprises where the investment is less than 1 crore and the turnover is less than 5 crore is called a micro. Similarly, if it is 10 crore and 50 crore respectively, it is called a small, and if it's 50 crore and 50 crore, it is called a medium. Fine. See the criteria for segregating the units into micro, small, and medium enterprises. Fine. Moving further, so this is the MSME, the biggest employment generation scope in the country. The MSME are the largest employer in India outside of agriculture, employing over 11.1 crore people, or 45% of the all workers. Boost to GDP and exports, MSME actually accounts for over 99% of business. Fine. This sector consists of nearly 64 million enterprises, second only in size to China in terms of GDP. Fine. So this is this sector. You see, 64 million enterprises are there in the MSME sector. Fine. And this contribute nearly 99% of the business, and this employment to 11.1 crore, or 45% of all workers are engaged in the MSME sector. Fine. Promotion of industry and innovation. They help in the promotion of industrial development in rural areas, capacity building, local resource mobilization, and also an opportunity for budding entrepreneurs to build creative products. Fine. So this is what they help in the promotion of industrial development in rural areas, capacity building, local resource mobilization, and also in opportunity for budding entrepreneurs in the to build creative products. So this is the benefit. Then inclusive society, they create an inclusive and sustainable society through the creation of long-term livelihood Fine. So this sector creates an inclusive society where all the sections of the society, even the poor and the vulnerable sections, so they are more able to get a scope to work in this sector. They promote balanced regional development because in this MSME sector, no specific region is given emphasis. Rather, the scope of every region is there for establishing such industry. So that means MSME sector establishment need no specific region where the raw materials are available, the manpower, trained manpower is available, etc. Because they can be established at any place where there is slight scope for some sort of development of industry. Fine. So this is where the scope of this particular sector. Fine. Then they promote inclusive society in the sense, this employs both male and female workers, and because this being in the rural area, more in the rural area, the female workers are able to work in this MSME sector. So this gives also means opportunity for people of both the sex, okay, male and female, to work in the sector. Fine. Considering above points, they are called the growth engine of the nation. So government has identified the MSME sector are the growth engine of India. That's why they are being promoted right now. Fine. The challenges, the MSME sector, although have big prospect and have been working that direction, but the pandemic has severely affected the MSME sector, especially the MSME in the service sector. Fine. MSME is not only the manufacturing, MSME also cover the service sector. Okay. So in the pandemic, so because of this lockdown, shutdown activities and fall in demand, so this service sector, this MSME sector are severely affected. The MSME sector was among the most pandemic affected sectors. Thousands of MSME either shut down or became sick after the government announced nationwide strict lockdown principle. Inaccessibility of credit, the sector always funds is always fund star, and banks are reluctant to fund them and delay in payment of MSME for their buyers. Fine. Because banks are not that forthcoming in providing loan to them, and in case MSME sector became weak, so there are very few buyers who want to take it over. Okay. And because inaccessibility of credit is a major challenge for the MSME sector. Fine. So apart from this, MSME sectors are always based on the locally available raw materials. Okay. MSME sector always use the locally available raw materials. Okay, as they send you the local level raw materials, and as the number grow, so they have to depend upon raw material from outside. As the number grow, so they depend for raw material from outside, and they face the unviability of raw material supply. Fine. So this is because the number of MSME grow in the area, so the locally available raw material is insufficient to fulfill their requirement. So they face the problem of non-availability of raw materials. Then inaccessibility of markets, lack of infrastructure and demand due to lockdown has resulted in the MSME accessing market. So there is a lockdown all over the country and around the world. So the MSME normally sell their products in the local area, and in case they are that advanced, so they are able to get a market outside the jurisdiction or outside their own area. So that is in the peripheral area, in the urban areas nearby. But the lockdown shutdown has reduced that scope, and they are unable to sell their products. Fine. So they face the big challenge that their products they are unable to sell in the market. Then coming to quality issue, lack of quality assurance, certification and marketing of the final products. So the MSME, although they go on producing, but there is no guarantee about the quality of products produced by the MSME, because very few of them opted for quality certification. In the absence of quality certification, the branded and branding, so they are unable to access the market outside. So that is what. So whether the product is qualitative or not, it was not very much assured. That is the reason for the situation. Then lack of skilled manpower and infrastructure mostly are present in rural areas. Low ICT, lack of trained manpower, inadequate transport facility, electricity are major challenges for them. Then the greenhouse gases. The MSME sector releases huge greenhouse gases. This sector also contributes significantly to greenhouse gases as it is energy intensive. As 70% of the country's power consumption is made by the coal in the MSME sector, because they are based on low technology. So they are not able to adopt the green technology or the updated energy technology, which resulted in these MSME releasing their greenhouse gases and responsible for um, increasing the greenhouse gas concentration in the atmosphere. Fine. So that is the major reason that the MSME are somehow being pointed fingers for their maximum release the greenhouse gases to the atmosphere and polluting, increasing pollution load because of the backward technology. So they are low level of capital and backward technology and dependent on fossil fuel for their energy needs is responsible for them significantly releasing greenhouse gases to the atmosphere. Fine. Then red tapeism. Other MSME requires various approvals. The entrepreneurs have to run around various government departments for getting construction permits, enforcing contracts, paying taxes, starting a business, and trading across borders. These lengthy and time-taking process, regulatory risk, and policy uncertainty shake the investors' confidence in them. Okay, because they are the person who want to invest in the MSME sector, so they know that. So getting permission by them is difficult. So getting enforcement contract is difficult for them. Trading across border is a big challenge for them. So their scope of export promotion or trading their goods is limited. So that is why so investors are not willing because they feel that the prospect of these sectors are not that bright. Then digitalization concern the integration of digital technologies such as big data, artificial intelligence, and virtual reality in business processes, also known as Industry 4.0. They are not adopted by the MSME sector due to their low level of capital. Because low level capital and technology has barred them from doing this. Fine. Class record kotha. Class chal only. No. Fine. So that is the reason. So that is why. So the digitalization concern is there. So they are unable to go updated in this process. So they are lagging behind. Then government has been trying to improve the situation. The government of India has identified the development of country's MSME ecosystem as a top priority for achieving Atmanirbhar Bharat program launched during the pandemic. So MSME, because they have been targeted or branded as the growth engine of the country, the government has programmed to improve the MSME ecosystem in the country. So in the post-pandemic period, government has tried to improve the MSME ecosystem through the Atmanirbhar Bharat to make it successful. India's ambitious Make in India program aims to catapult the country by manufacturing value chain to position itself as a global manufacturing hub. And here the MSME have a big scope and being promoted. Initiatives such as the production link incentive PLI scheme and the recently launched zero defect certification are helping to promote the and push the sector. So government has been trying from its end to promote the MSME sector, and for that, starting from the creating this MSME ecosystem to Make in India campaign and to this provide financial incentive to the products PLI scheme launched in the post-pandemic period, and the zero effect, zero defect certification that ensuring good quality are some of these steps taken by the government for the promotion of the MSME sector. Then international support like the UN system in India is supporting these and the MSME development initiative at the local, state and national levels. Agencies of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, International Labour Organization, United Nations Development Program and even women etc. are working with MSME because MSME gives huge employment to women, so even women work for them. So that as they are contributing to the pollution load, the UNEP facilitate them how to reduce the pollution load. Then because they are giving employment huge labor, the International Labour Organization help them in codifying labor standards and as they need finance. The United Nations Industrial Development Organization is also coordinating with them to ensure a better industrial atmosphere in the country. For reducing environmental impact, MSME operations and fosters clean tech innovations and entrepreneurship to accelerate transition to a circular and low carbon economy. Fine. Energy efficiency provides a case in point as business and climate benefits go hand in hand. For example, together with the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, as you all know, so BEE is the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, which gives the star rating. So what it gives? This gives the star rating. Okay, to industry, to establishment, to buildings, to electrical gadgets. Fine. So these are also taken care of by the government through the BEE. The Prime Minister Employment Generation Program is also creating opportunity for self-employment and micro enterprises with over 7 lakh micro enterprises assisted in becoming economically viable. Okay. Other includes Aspire scheme, credit guarantee scheme, credit link capital subsidy schemes, etc. Champions portal to assist Indian MSME march into the big league as national and global champions by solving their grievances and encouraging, supporting, helping and handholding them. Right. So these are the issues which are related to the MSME sector as they have a big scope in the country. So government has been promoting them and with all the shortcomings what they want to be overcoming in future. MSME Samadhan to enable them to directly register their cases about delayed payment by central government, ministry, etc. in case they purchase the item. Then a scheme for upfront regeneration of traditional industries. Then the SFURTI, interest subvention scheme for incremental credit to MSME. The RBI also extended the scheme for one-time restructuring of the loans to MSME without an asset classification, downgrade and permitted bank lending to NBFC for on lending to agriculture, MSME and housing to be classified as a priority sector lending. MSME has been classified as a priority sector lending by the government. It has been already been done. The MSME sector comes under the priority sector lending. So banks have to provide 40% of their loan to the priority sector. So MSME is coming under the priority sector, which identified 8 priority sectors. For lending and MSME is one among them. Fine. Then conclusion, there is a need for replicable digital solutions adopted for MSME, including digital enhancement for machinery and equipment currently in use. Government initiatives such as the Digital Sakhyam and the interlink of the Udyam, e-Shram, National Career Service and Atmanirbhar Skilled Employee-Employer Mapping portal show the promise of staggered digitization schemes. Fine. So these are all issues related to the MSME and it is very optimistically concluded that MSME has a very big and bright future in the country if all the necessary ecosystem is provided to them and government policy is in this direction, then the MSME sector will definitely improve and contribute more to the economic growth and fulfill the tag attached to them are the engine of economic development in the country. Fine. So moving next. Okay, so this is the missile system of Russia. Russia promised its allies Belarus deliver the nuclear capable missile to take on an aggressive West. Okay, because in this ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, so the world is being polarized. European Union and America on the one side, and Russia and some of its allies are in the other side. When Belarus is supporting Russia or in its camp, in Russian camp, so that it became Russia's responsibility to provide the military support to Belarus. Okay, codenamed as SS-26 Stone by NATO, this Iskander M missile is a term used by Russia to define both the transporter, erector, launch system, and the certain ballistic missiles it fires. It is a complete system. So it is a transporter, it is a erector, and it is a launch system, and including the missile. The system can also fire ground-launched cruise missiles. The Iskander M system is exclusively used by the Russian military, whereas Iskander E is the one meant for export. So it's not that Iskander is for own use. The Iskander E version is only for export to other countries with variation. The Iskander M missile has a range of 500 kilometers. It can carry a payload of up to 700 kg. So the missile's strength depends upon two things: the range it can cover and the payload that it can carry. Okay, and under these circumstances, so as we know, so this missile fulfill both. Okay, so that is what. Okay, so the export variant of Iskander E has a range of 280 kilometers in place of 500 kilometers, and it is a reduced payload of 480 kg instead of the 700 kg. So this version Iskander M is for its own use. So Russian military use this particular mission, the Iskander M, and the Iskander E, which is exported to outsiders, has a range of 280 kilometers, and it can carry a payload of 480 kg. Fine. While the Iskander system was induced by Russia in 2006, its development picked pace in the late 1980s after the Ukka ballistic missile was banned under the Intermediate Nuclear Forces Treaty signed between India, Russia, USSR, and USA. The OAS Russia first attempt to replace the Soviet Scud missile. Iskander was the second. Russia first used the Iskander in combat in Georgia in 2008. US-based think tank, the Center for Strategic and International Studies, said that Iskander missiles are designed to confuse missile defense by flying at a low trajectory and maneuvering in flight to strike target with an accuracy of around 2 to 5 meters. So this is very precise because of the onboard system where it can be, its trajectory can be changed. In the projection of power, Russia has made the Belarus announcement at the time when the G7 meet in Germany. The ongoing G7 meeting being held at Germany. So here Russia want to show its or convey this message through support to Belarus that Russia will be with its own allies and it can challenge the Western countries, including the European Union, so through its military strength, as it is showing its strength in Ukraine. Okay, in the past too, Russia has used the Iskander system to project power against Europe, more so because of its ability to be fitted with tactical nuclear warheads. In 2012, Russia said that the weapon could be used to target Europe's missile defense. Iskander system has already been deployed in Kaliningrad, a Russian enclave, from where it can be fired to target NATO forces in Poland, Baltic states, and Sweden, which are the NATO members. Fine. So this is what Russia projected its missile and is able to show its strength before the international community. Then there is a national news regarding this anti-defection. In the age of IRM Gayaram, so the Indian Parliament passed the anti-defection law, Anti-defection is to check the shifting of party loyalty. Okay, the 91st Amendment of the Constitution. Okay, okay. So it was passed prior to that, and okay. So this act was passed in 1985. Okay, to check the shifting of party loyalty and what is called as the floor cursing. So in 1985, so 1985, it was passed to check what is called as the floor cursing. Okay, floor cursing. Under this law, a member of a legislature can be disqualified if he or she has voluntarily given up the membership of their political party, and if he or she votes or abstain from voting in the House contrary to any direction issued by their party, so or the whip. There is a provision to protect such legislator from disqualification. If two-thirds of the members agree on a merger with another party, they will not be disqualified. Under the 91st Amendment to the Constitution in 2003, the exemption from disqualification if one-third of the members from a separate group, the rule prior to amendment was removed. Okay, two-third for merger, one-third for two-third for merger, and they merge with another party and a split, and one-third split. Okay, it has been changed. So this particular news show you the different cases. In February 2022, the High Court of Bombay at Goa held that 10 Congress MLA and 2 MGP MLA who had defected to BJP in 2019 are exempted from disqualification, and held that a merger of this group of Congress MLA is deemed to be a merger of the regional political party with the BJP. Fine. So this is where the speaker is to give the final verdict. Right now, the judiciary has taken the situation under this. Okay, the Arvinder Singh Rana versus Swami Prasad Maurya, the Constitution by the Supreme Court interpreted the term voluntarily giving up membership to a political party and held that a person may be said to have voluntarily given up membership of an original party even though he or she has not tendered resignation. Okay, so the law originally protected the speaker decision from judicial review. However, the safeguard was struck down in the Kyoko, Holon, and Jachilu and others case. When the SC upheld the speaker's discretionary power, it underscored that the speaker functioned as a tribunal under the anti-defection law. This is very important. The Supreme Court latter ruling, the speaker functions as a tribunal under the anti-defection law, and thereby making his or her decision subject to judicial review, because tribunal decisions are subject to judicial review in India. So the speaker is not the final authority on this. So the speaker can the speaker decision regarding anti-defection is subject to judicial review. Fine. So this has changed, but a big change in the situation. The same could be witnessed in the Srimat Balasaheb Patel and others versus Speaker Karnataka case. Fine. So, however, it struck down the ban on MLA from contesting election in 2023, negating the only possible permanent solution to the problem. Fine. So, this law, since it has been passed, it is again in use because of the case in the ongoing stand-up in Maharashtra. Fine. Because so a part of this Shiv Sena legislators, they have defected along with some independent, and right now they are putting the claim, putting the Shiv Sena government into a minority, and the situations, this deputy speaker's order has been challenged in the court, and in many of the cases the anti-defection law is being used or misused for taking mileage and shifting power and making the elected government unstable. Okay. So the anti-defection law provided a safeguard to defectors made on the genuine ideological differences. It accepted split within a party if at least one third of the members of the electoral party defeat. So there are two things. One is a split, and then the merger. Split, LIT, at one third, and merger with two third. There are the original provisions. Okay, and allowed the formation of a new party or merger with other political party if not less than two-thirds of the party members commit to it. The 91st Amendment introduced in 2003 deleted the provision of allowing split. The split by one third has been deleted now. Okay. Okay, so as this was changed, so the 91st Amendment also banned the appointment of defector as ministers until their disqualification period is over or they are re-elected, whichever is earlier. But obviously, such law have not put to rest the trend of defection. So defection as a trend continue, and the recent example is the case in Maharashtra. The main issue as witnessed in Karnataka is that the defectors treat disqualification as a mere detour before they return to the house or government by recontesting. This can only be stopped by extending the disqualification period from recontesting an appointment to chairmanship ministers to at least 6 years. The minimum period limit of 6 years is needed to ensure that defectors are not allowed to enter the election frame for at least one election cycle, which is 5 years. So the law was enacted to bring stability to the system, the political system in India, because in the 1980s when the act was passed, the anti-defection law was passed, so there is rampant change or floor crossing or jumping from one side to the other, and government in the states became unstable. Okay, and it's called that this floor crossing. So enhance the menace to that an extent that government was compelled to pass this in 1985. But the provisions of split and merger, which were added there to give some sort of scope for genuine ideological differences, has been misused in time and also been misused at present. So that needs some changes in the system and making it more effective. So this trend is checked. Fine. Then the next topic that we intend to take is an economic one. This is related to the recession. Recession is when the economy stops growing and starts sinking. It means not only sinking of GDP but also declining income, employment, industrial production, and retail sales. It happens when the value of goods and services produced in economy known as GDP declines for two consecutive quarters. If the GDP falls for two consecutive quarters in a country, okay, so it is called a period of recession. Okay, recession causes rising unemployment, risk in bankruptcies, defaults and foreclosures, falling interest rates, lower consumer spending and consumer confidence, falling asset prices, including the cost of homes, and dip in the stock market. Because what we have witnessed recently in the pandemic was a recessionary trend in Indian economy as well as in global economy. Fine. So prevention, it includes targeted tax cut on spending increases on safety net progress like unemployment insurance that kick in automatically to stabilize the economy when it is underperforming. If the government takes some measures like some sort of spending more or infusing more capital, so we can overcome this. To overcome a recessionary trend, the most important requirement is injecting more fund to the market. If more fund is available, then people purchasing power increases. Once the purchasing power increases, demand will increase. Once demand will increase, it will lead to more of production, and if production starts, recession will be over. Approving new spending on infrastructure projects in order to stimulate the economy by adding jobs, increasing economic output, and boosting productivity. In the prevailing market situation, hybrid funds are best placed to protect the downside for the investors. After investing in property, as builders and housing finance companies are luring buyers with a big discount and low loan rates. It is always a big idea to diversify the portfolio with gold and foreign reserve to reduce the risk. Because foreign reserve is the currency of the foreign country which are internationally acceptable. They will not depreciate in case of recession in the country, rather they will appreciate. Create an emergency corpus when the job are vanishing. So if emergency corpus is used, so more and more money can be pushed to the economy, and once the money is pushed, economic activity will vibrant, and vibrant economic activity will definitely lead to more demand, and more demand will create more employment opportunity, and employment will also lead to more purchasing power as well as taxes for the government. So infusing more money is the conditions precondition for improving the situation in the economy. Fine. So let's see the question for today. So coming to the questions in the MCQ pattern. Okay, so the first one, consider the following statement regarding the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act. In 2021 Act, decreased the upper age limit of registration period from which a woman can seek a medical abortion to 20 weeks from 24 weeks. Rather, it is not decreased, it is increased from 20 weeks to 24 weeks. So this is not decreased, this has been increased from 20 to 24 weeks. It is a hike. So it is not, so it was, so it is increased. It was earlier 20 weeks but increased to 24 weeks now. Right. So only two is right. Then moving further. So consider the following statement: rising unemployment, rising bankruptcy, default and foreclosure, falling interest rate, low consumption spending and consumer confidence, falling asset price. So which of these following can be possible causes of recession in the Indian economy? So all these recession slow down the economy, and slowdown has its impact on all these things. So this is answer is all of these. Then coming to three, in the major in the recent context, consider the following with the reference to MSME sector: micro annual turnover not less than not more than 10 crore. As you discussed, this is not 10 crore, this is 5 crore. Okay, small annual turnover not more than 50 crores is right, and medium not more than 250 crores. So how many are incorrect? So only one pair is incorrect. That is the this pair one is incorrect because this is not 10 crore but only 5 crore. Fine. Then the question 4. This of the speaker anti-defection law cannot be challenged in any court of law. So it is because as a Supreme Court ruling, so speaker acts as a tribunal in anti-defection law. So as he acts as a tribunal, so tribunal's decision is subject to review by the higher judiciary called the Supreme Court. So this is wrong. Anti-defection law originally banned the appointment of defaulters as ministers until the disqualification period is over or they are re-elected, whichever is earlier. So later Supreme Court struck down these provisions. This is also wrong. So both of these are wrong statements. So answer is D. Then coming to 5, Iskander M missile is of Russia, Kuddas 15 of Iran, Hongsang is of North Korea, and Green missile of Russia. No, Green missile is a missile of Ukraine. It is not of Russia. So this one pair, 3 pairs are correct. Which are the correct pairs? So correct pairs are 1, 2, and 3, and this is the wrong pair. This belongs to Ukraine. Fine. So in this, so 3 pairs are correct. Then question number 7. Kit launch and purpose. Can Cove ELISA kit detect COVID in cannabis? Sura ELISA kit detects Trypanosoma vanis sequence in animals. Equine DNA parentage testing kit determine parentage in horse and other equines. All the 3 are rightly matched. So 3 are correct. Then 8. The Maasai tribe recently seen in news are an indigenous ethnic group in which of the following region? So Maasai is in Africa, especially in Eastern Africa. So they are the native of Eastern Africa. Governing Council of Niti Aayog comprises which of the following? Niti Aayog, which was created in 2015. Niti Aayog was created in 2015 as successor of the Planning Commission to bring cooperative federalism in India. Fine. So governing council of Niti Aayog covers the prime minister, the chief minister of all the states, and the LG of the Union Territory. So all 3 are there. So answer is D. Okay. This is how it promotes cooperative federalism. Then consider the following statement about the near field communication technology. Okay, so it is a short distance communication technology for few meters. No additional power source is required for this near field communication technology. So both are right. So excuse me. The right answer for this question number 10 is C. So students, so this is what we discussed today in the current affairs and the MCQs. So keep on watching for further developments on a regular basis to update yourself. Thank you.